Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts HD Dream Drop Distance playthrough. We are back with Riku and it is time to enter La Cité des Cloches with Riku, and it's going to be delightful. Obviously, before we go any further, we need to make sure that we add an extra command into our deck, because why the heck would we not? We've got the space, let's make use of it. And I have to say, looking at this now, I am realising that I do miss the whole levelling up your commands thing that you could do in Birth by Sleep. That was always a really fun extra that just made experimenting with commands a lot more exciting. Which I do feel is sort of a little bit lost in Dream Drop Distance. But that is just a very minor thing that I've only just realised now. But here we go into Riku's dive, and this is a boss fight dive against Queen Buzzerfly, which it's not the most difficult fight in the world. Basically the gist is wait until her little bee minions are vulnerable, which generally comes after they've done this manoeuvre and then they're all kind of flying back to their places. That's when you kind of go into, you murder them, and then she becomes vulnerable. The only problem with that is that it can be a little bit difficult to tell when they are exactly vulnerable, because the idea is obviously hit the big glowing weak points, but because of how they move about, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to tell when you are going to be able to do it. The general thing is if the reticule turns up, that's pretty much time to go. But once you've done that, this happens, you get a lot closer up to Queen Buzzerfly, and then the whole thing is that you go in and murder her head. Pretty much you should be able to get this done in about 2 cycles. You might be able to just about pull it off in 1 if you time your hit correctly and manage to get a proper combo going. But it can be easier said than done to actually achieve that. Especially, you know, when you don't quite remember how to play the bloody game and are just trying to figure everything out. Because obviously it'd been a while since I played against this boss fight, so I really was not quite fully on board with everything that I was supposed to do to make it go quickly. But it's all good because it's done. We've got a whole bunch of prizes and we finished it. And I'm pretty sure that's a... yeah, that's definitely a silver. Don't worry, once we are all through with quite a lot of the game, we are going to go back through, well actually once the main bulk of the story is over, we're going to go back in and we're going to A-rank all those dives. So you'll see what they're supposed to end up like.
Huh? You there? Have you seen a gypsy woman?
Nope. Sorry.
All right. Thanks. I'm terribly sorry, sir. We've lost her.
Slippery vermin. I'm beginning to question having summoned you back from the wars, Captain Phoebus.
Thank you. You stood up for me. I'm Esmeralda.
Riku. And it's not like I know what a gypsy is. Why are they chasing you?
Judge Frollo has been hunting us for years. We gypsies are guilty of nothing but loving our freedom. Yet Frollo hates whatever he can't control. Now he's even brought in fresh blood to torment us. I'd hate to know what darkness drives that man.
I think I can imagine. Tell me more. Was he always like this?
I don't give Frollo much thought. But if you'd like, you could try Notre Dame. They say it's a place for answers.
So yes, here we are. Riku being pretty decent human being of not pointing out where the person who was running away went. Also, I mean, it's a very clear thing of, obviously, they've never really come across the term gypsy before, certainly not in this context, so why would they know what it is, and why would they know whether it is a good or a bad thing? I'd say you look at the likes of how gypsies and, well, travellers are perceived in the UK at present. It's not great. And it's sort of, in that sense, you can understand sort of the levels of persecution that you kind of witnessed throughout the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it's a very complex issue. And one that really I don't know whether there is a kind of decent answer on. Because you've got the whole argument of just wanting freedom and travelling, and there's something kind of romantic about that type of lifestyle. But then you've got the flip side of what happens sometimes with travellers of when they set up shop somewhere, they sometimes leave an absolute mess, and then people have to clean it up. It's very complicated, and also not really a great topic of conversation for talking over a video game based on Final Fantasy and Disney. So yeah, should point out there, I did use a friendship portal. I don't really like using them. There's not really much point in using them, because you're not really getting any experience through these for your party members. I think in the original 3DS version you did get something for using friendship portals, but not really in the PS4 version, so why bother? And yeah, that's fine by me. But I just decided to do it anyway, because why the hell not? But yeah, we just get to have a nice, lovely stroll through the world. Gets a bit exciting as we go through different parts of it. There's one battle which I could do whilst I'm in here, but I don't because I forgot exactly how it all works.
I'm Riku.
Oh, my name's Quasimodo. I'm very sorry, but the Archdeacon is away.
Actually, I'm looking for a man named Frollo. Do you know where he is?
My master? He said he had business on the outskirts of the city.
Do you mean you know him?
Oh, yes. He's very kind. Master Frollo saved my life. He protects me from the outside world.
He protects you from it?
The people out there would be cruel to me. I'm a monster, you know.
Is that what Frollo told you? Trust me, looks can be deceiving. A good friend sees you for who you are, no matter what face you wear. You should go out there, find some friends who understand you.
Oh no, my master forbids it. I'm not to set foot outside.
Are you sure that's what's stopping you? Because I think something else is holding you back. Ask your heart, Quasimodo. I'll check the edge of town. Thanks. Wish I could take my own advice.
So yes, this actually brings up a good point of something that it's a pretty decent conversation topic for whenever we're really dealing with Riku throughout Dream Drop Distance, because ultimately Dream Drop Distance very much does feel like Riku's story more so than Sora's, and it's really quite fascinating because obviously Sora is the hero, he very much fits that archetype. We all do love a good kind of run with Sora. He's that happy-go-lucky hero's hero, which is great. But when you've got like Riku, he's a lot more complex of a character. Obviously there's a lot of stuff that happened in Kingdom Hearts 1, and then pretty much ever since then he's constantly been trying to atone for what he feels he did. And I would say that pretty much Dream Drop Distance is the first time that he really gets the chance to be a regular person, I suppose, because Rechain of Memories, he spends most of that game in Reverse Rebirth, just sort of being just like, oh, I got caught by the darkness, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, how do I go from here, is anybody going to forgive me for what I did? Which is a totally reasonable step and needed to happen. And then obviously he spent pretty much all the other games as a side character or in the background, doing good stuff to protect Sora, but very little else in terms of having major character development. This is the thing that I was telling you about that really I can do right now, but I thought, oh, do I? Do I want to do this right now? I can't remember. I'm going to pass for now, because I do want to be a little bit better leveled before I do tackle it. But you can tackle it now, and you probably should tackle it now, because it's a special thing, but we'll discuss that once we actually do it properly. So yeah, so Riku developed over the sort of time, and this is the first real time we've probably got to play with him and just experience him as a proper, fully rounded character, not entirely caught with all of his angst and drama. There's actually sort of more humanity in him, because he jokes, he smiles, he imparts advice, he struggles, he has demons to face, and it's really, really interesting to watch and to experience. And I think because you do have those different shades of grey in Riku's character, it does just make it a lot more interesting to experience, because Riku tends to react to the Disney world in a very, I want to say, conscientious manner. And there's just a lot of innate kindness in him that really works. Because Sora always goes into things, and while he's always really good-hearted and seeing the best in everyone and fighting for what's right, because he's so bullish in his pleasantness and so on and so forth, you do lose a little bit of that. It's not ambiguity, I suppose complexity. So having that with Riku is just really nice, and I like how I've basically spent the last 4 minutes saying Riku's a better character in Dream Drop Distance because he's complex. That's basically what I was saying. But you know how I do. I blather on and on and on. And god damn it, I'm missing a chest. And my brain's going, what am I missing then? And eventually I realise, oh wait, that's Traverse Town, that's not La Cité de Cloche. So yes, I think I'm just missing 1 or 2 chests in this area. Pretty much from this moment onwards, I am going to be a lot more careful in trying to make sure I pick up all of the chests as I go through the different areas. Just because I didn't like having to go back through entire swathes of areas wherever not possible. Well, whenever I had to. There are definitely certain instances where that is not going to happen. I tried my best to get it all in one fell swoop, but as I have said, there are certain worlds which fully require backtracking through them to actually get anywhere with collecting some of the chests. Other ones, you are effectively funneled all the way through really quickly. So it's very easy to miss chests in those instances, and also it's a lot safer to just miss them and come back to them later. A prime example is actually going to be in Riku's version of La Cité de Cloche, because we are, yeah, there's 2 bits of the level which we'll see as being chased by a vicious monstrosity, and yes, basically in those moments, that's where you really want to just make sure that you're pegging it rather than worrying about chests. But before then, obviously, we have got to experience the delight that is the bell tower with Riku. And I'm just going to continue to make new saves for a while. Eventually I'm going to reach the point where I do start rotating them, because just like, I think it's probably safe now. Like, everything else has been recorded, it's not necessarily, well, at this point, had I edited? Oh, I was editing a little bit more close, like, a bit further ahead, because I was just like, yes, let's get this all done. And then I did reach the point of just going, I just kind of want to finish recording it all. So I've still got actually a lot of Dream Drop Distance to edit, which is really annoying, actually. Because in my head I'm just like, I'm done with the game, I just want to do my commentary, but now I've got to edit it all as well. So I'm going to have fun with that. But yes, is that... Yep, that looks pretty nice and neat to me. So we'll continue with that. Yeah, so I've got a lot of editing to do for Dream Drop Distance. Particularly the post-game stuff. Because I filmed that in a bit of a mess of an order. It was ridiculous. And I have leave praise. Yes! Oh, that makes me so happy. So very, very, very stupidly happy. Because that means that I can actually, you know, heal without getting hurt. It's great! And we're very nearly done with levelling up Audrey, actually. I've pretty much got most of the stuff in there. Great! And since, you know, we're starting to get some better moves, we're gonna damn well make sure we use them. I mean, we're definitely using Ephira, and I probably should start using a bit of Zero Gravira, because a bit of Zero Gravity never hurts. But you never know. And once again, I can never quite remember which way I jump off of this bloody tower. Although, honestly, doing that never gets old. As I said when we were playing as Sora, it's just a really satisfying thing to do. And it's one of the things that I am looking forward to doing in Kingdom Hearts 3, because some of those worlds look gigantic in terms of their verticality. But I do hope that it's just a lot easier to get up and down through worlds, even though that is the case, because otherwise it could get a little bit infuriating. And also, I'm really obsessive with saving. You will have noticed this whenever I've played Kingdom Hearts games previously. I reach a save point, I save. I mean, pretty much this is, I think, a very standard thing for people to do in JRPGs. Largely because, you know, they do last longer, you are generally playing for longer sittings, so you don't want to lose any progress that you may have made in that time period. So yeah, it does make sense, and really the amount of games that I've played over the years, my brain has effectively been trained to save whenever it is physically possible. It makes sense. It's how it works. But I will say, I cannot wait until I get Barrier for Riku, because while Sora's block effectively remains as just a block, Riku gets the barrier shield that Aqua uses in Birth by Sleep, which is easily the best type of block in the game, because it blocks from every direction, and that just makes life a hell of a lot easier. So I will be very, very, very happy when I finally get to that. But I have actually, you know, got to get to that point, and good, I didn't forget this little bit over here. Once again, very big area, very easy to miss little nooks and crannies where chests are. Thankfully, because I have, you know, played through Sora's version, I am relatively in the know of where those nooks and crannies are likely to be, so that certainly helps, but it's certainly not perfect, and I'm sure there will be at least one or two things that I do end up missing. In fact, I think there might be one that ends up being around here somewhere, actually. I can't remember where it is, but I do seem to recall there being a chest in that area that I did miss, which you'll see me obviously pick up later, if I did indeed miss it. But there's just something in my brain going, you missed a chest, you missed a chest, you missed a chest, because obviously when I'm going back over these things, my brain just likes to be a massive dick to me, because it just wants to point out all the flaws in my gameplay and my tactics. But I suppose that is a natural thing, because you've got the time to really think about what you're doing, and by that I mean when you're obviously watching it, you're not in the moment and going entirely on just go with the flow, figure out how it's all going, etc, etc. So you can actually think about, oh, so what were my tactics in this situation, what was I actually doing? I mean, generally the way that I play Kingdom Hearts is I just sort of mash my way through, with a bit of skill every now and again when required. Which is basically how you play Kingdom Hearts, really. But yeah, I definitely need to get on with that Drop Me Not. I mean, really, I should just leave them in my deck, because that would make sense to do so. But I'm not going to, because I don't want to waste a slot. So that does mean that I do have to go menu diving quite frequently. But I suppose it's one of those things that you just sort of get used to when you're doing these sorts of things. Once again, it's a JRPG, there's always a lot of menu diving and dealing with. So it's hardly a surprise that it is a thing. And yeah, we are slowly but surely making our way through this area. Some of these areas are far too big. But one of the things that you will begin to notice, I believe, is that actually, despite the fact that Riku probably gets the better story angle throughout Dream Drop Distance, his worlds generally end up being a little bit shorter than Sora's. Not always. There are some that are, well, the majority are either about the same length or shorter, but some of them are notably shorter. I'm pretty sure second trip to Traverse Town is a prime example of that. And obviously we'll see that when we get to it, but let's see. Have I got everything in this area? Well, I've got a little bit more fighting that I can do, so I'm going to do that. I think there's probably another chest or so in the area somewhere. Oh, we've got a portal. Oh, it's a special portal. I'm so glad I found that one. So yeah, that's the rare Neko cat, I believe. Because yeah, there are a few instances where there are repeat Dream Eaters in that they are sort of colour swaps or variations on a typical type. So the Neko cat has an extra sort of variation, which I believe is the Fruits cat, which you will actually see in this playthrough. I mean, you will actually see all of the Dream Eaters in this playthrough, because I'm going to show them off, because that is just the type of stuff that I do. And in my completer brain frenzy, that's exactly what I decided I wanted to show off. So you will see all of the Dream Eaters over the course of this playthrough. A lot of them will arguably turn up at the end. But I can use it then as an explanation of where you can grind certain elements and so on and so forth. And of course I'm missing one. So then I was just like, right, where's this blighter then? Because I ain't continuing until I find this bloody chest. And yeah, I'm just like, where the hell am I going again? It's so easy to get lost in this particular bit of La Cité de Cloche. And then I'm just like, right, which bit? Because I think, hilariously, it might actually be right back in this first little bit, but I was just really blind, perhaps? Okay, no, I'm not crazy, it is not in that bit. I thought it was, and I was just going, what? No, I remember where it is. It's in that little bit that is just around the corner. Yeah, just there, being a sneaky little blighter, hidden around a corner where nobody's gonna spot it. Hiding a bloody noble fantasy. Cheeky bloody devil. But I believe that is all of the chests in the town. So I think that we've had a nice little nosy there. We can just upgrade some ability links potentially, maybe, please. That would be nice. I'll take an attack haste. I suppose we'll do that one as well whilst we're at it. And yes, we will go through the Great Gates and head towards the outskirts of town, where everything is going to get rather fiery, I believe. By fiery, I do mean literally, like, everything's gonna be absolutely lit. I'm never gonna say that again.